Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976.
Betty.
Here comes my girl. Come on, Betty.
It's really early, but I came in and I just fell out. I just dropped everything. I was hungry. All I had yesterday was like a cup of lobster bisque soup, and I came in and I dropped everything and I just crawled into bed.
It's okay.
The reason why people are so pissed off at me is because I called to the courthouse. I thought there was things with the phone system, and so I called to the courthouse, told them who I was, what I wanted to do, and told them I was trying to find the actual stream as opposed to being on the voice or on the telephone.
And for what case is this for?
This is for the West case. Well,
The
apparently,
Owen and Orson West, the boys?
yes.
Okay.
Apparently, there's an order saying that you can only record, we can only release the opening arguments, the closing arguments, and the verdict, but everything else we can listen to, we just can't restream. So they all these roaches came charging into my room. Of course, I didn't believe them because naturally I just called the courthouse. They walked me through and set all this stuff up with me. So naturally I'm not listening to these roaches.
Uh-huh.
And of course, them coming in and screaming at me. They do that all the time. So I wouldn't listen to them anyways because of their conduct.
Uh-huh.
Well, I called out of the courthouse because right when I started streaming, it was going into the lunch break. So I called out of the courthouse again. And it sounded like the lady that walked me through all this that I spoke to that picked up the phone. And she's like, and she was really sweet. And she's like, I really need to get you to the right person. So I think she realized that she might have provided me inappropriate information. I don't think it was her fault, but still it's something for everybody to be upset with.
So the information is out there for the public, but no individual can share it? Is that what you're saying to me?
We can all watch it independently. We just can't restream it.
Oh, gotcha.
So,
okay, so if I went to the site right now, I can watch and listen to everything. I just can't watch and listen to you play it.
Right.
Okay,
exactly.
I got you.
So it's a really stupid rule. Honestly.
When can they tell? I guess they own the rights to the audio. I guess it's their property.
No, it's not that. It's just the court order. It's up to the judge's discretion, but every order they were giving me just basically said it was up to the judge's discretion, and the judge was playing it, so I assumed that was his discretion. He's obviously playing it.
That's a weird rule, man. I never heard nothing that's out in the public that you can't
right.
say. I mean, could you listen to it and talk about it? Could you verbatim go listen to it and then recite it?
Bingo.
Yeah, I get not sharing it. But could you listen to it and come back and tell your viewers, hey, this is what's going on?
I could literally be sitting there with an earbud in my ear giving a play-by-play, and it'll be all above.
Well, I ain't saying complete, but just in general, you can listen to it and tell your viewers. They don't have a problem with people doing that, right?
Right. Well, it doesn't matter whether they have a problem with it. All that matters is what's in that court order. And so they said the courts. I called the court, so they sent me the court order directly. And since, of course, me telling everybody that we're going to be doing live coverage on Monday, even my mods are like, don't restream that. I never said I'm restreaming. But we are doing live coverage of the case, so everybody's assuming that I'm going to break the rules and start playing the channel. But I'm a very clever, person.
Yeah, I used to do play-by-play for the UFC fights back in the day, and I never showed the fights. I just figured people were watching the fights, and I was just talking through it.
Right.
So I mean, if that's weird. I thought when it was out in the public that you could share anything out in the general public.
Right, but that's why everybody's so mad. If you're asking why is everybody so hot, it's because of that. It's because
I didn't even hear about that one, Betty. Really.
Yeah.
What I heard about was something about kids being. You said something bad about kids or something.
No,
young kids,
I can't help
murders.
the facts. I can't help the facts. So here's what it is: the Marion 3. It's sad to say that the victims of that, the 3 people that died, they were all 6 of them were part of this band of kids that were robbing people.
Mm-hmm.
And one set of kids turned on the other set of kids, and it's upsetting to me because it seems like the set of kids that got executed, pending the identity of the third male, because they never released the third male, appears that all the white kids in this band of 6 were gunned down by the black kids. And I'm sorry, it's an obvious. There's nothing. You or Betty didn't make these facts up.
No, but
right.
So what? I mean, here's the thing on the law: if you're charged as a juvenile, as an adult, you commit a crime, you're charged as an adult. Can they not execute you, give you the death penalty in this country? I'm not positive of the law myself. I'm saying if you're charged as an adult, I know as a minor they cannot give you the death penalty, but if they charge you as an adult, can they give you the death penalty or just life in prison?
Yeah, it depends on the age of the child, if I remember. There's some kind of a Supreme Court decision that came out that said it was unconstitutional to give a child the death penalty. Right. So it really depends on their age. So what you see is most of these kids that commit these violent crimes.
But once you say you're charging somebody as an adult, they're no longer a child.
But it still has the Supreme Court's based on age, not
it is.
Even though they committed the crime as a minor, they're charged as an adult. They still hold them as a minor, as in life in prison.
Yeah, there was some sort of Supreme Court decision. I can't remember which one, but I remember when it came.
So you weren't saying I mean, I know the hate tale, like, but you would just say these bad kids, they deserve the death, that did these things deserve the death penalty, basically.
They deserve the death penalty, and I was very cautious and said, I don't want.
How old are the kids? I have no clue, so I'm just.
The oldest child is 17 years old. The oldest victim is 17
Oh, that's
years
an adult in most states. You know,
Yeah.
like you in the South, 16, you an adult. You go to prison.
Yes.
old. One of the assailants was only 12.
Okay, yeah, you don't execute that kid. He's
All right,
12
so
years
where
old.
was this at?
Marion County,
But
Florida.
17 to me, 17 in some states you're legal, you can get married, all kinds of shit. You're a grown man at 17, you know right from wrong. You know, I think at that age, yeah, you at that age, if you're charged as an adult, you know what I'm saying? If I sat on your jury and you was facing a death penalty and you did something heinous, depending on the circumstances,
Yeah. And
But
then,
I would say at 17, you know right from wrong.
and of course, there's still underage kids with the Trenton case too.
But definitely no, kids that, when they're young, their brains ain't completely developed. They can be misguided, misled. There's a lot of reasons you probably shouldn't execute young offenders, But there's in this world we live in, there is some young people, especially when you get to teenage ages like 16, 17, that do some of the most heinous, crazy shit. And, as a society, what do we do with that? Because you're 2 years older, we can give you the death penalty or I just say, life in prison for people under 18. You're just never going to get out. As far as
And that's
executing
basically
you
what
lethal injection, probably not. Save that for people that are over 18 that commit crimes. But I don't know. You caught some heat for that one. I see a lot of people talking about that one. I wasn't completely sure what the case was about and what you was referring to.
Well, it also might be the Trenton case because all the kids, that's the Glenn County, Georgia, where because I just came from Leilani, but before that I went to Glenn County, and that one was with all the kids. There was a house, like a party house, and they tortured this boy, and the kids haven't been arrested yet they have videotape of this kid being taped to a chair, urinated on, spray painted.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Underage,
I've seen that too.
Wow.
It's not far from me. It's only about an hour and a half from me.
That the one thing that's really bad is that the young people that do go into prison and do get out, once they've had that violent experience, right, they go into a violent environment and then they come out and sometimes they're even worse than they were. Because you know what I mean? It's just it's almost like there's not a win-win there at all.
No, and it's
Except for them staying
the public that going to prison. Now, granted, I do believe there are just some people that are don't need to be around society, but I don't think that heavy punishment should be for everybody. And me personally feel that judges should have to go to prison in order to provide that kind of sentencing because they don't know what they're providing to people. And some petty crimes are getting 10 years, and to me, that is institutionalizing somebody. You've got a petty crime, and now you're going to make a hardened criminal out of this person, as opposed to getting them the help they need. Are they having financial problems? Do they have a drug problem? Do they have a mental problem? And I don't think that the prisons are for everyone. And I'm sorry, that's just how I believe.
Well, I mean, we can go into the same kind of scenario with kids too, because it depends on the kids' upbringing, what kind of environment they were created in. You know what I'm saying? Their parents, and then their actions. We gotta judge these kids that do horrible things on a little bit on their upbringing, like what made them be the little monsters that they are. And there's reasons for it. All kids, I don't think a kid is born bad. You know what I'm saying? I think a kid can take a bad path. You know what I'm saying? But I think with the right people and the right love and the right people around any kid, they will do great in life. I honestly believe that.
Okay, so this
More than you need anything in this world is love. If you got somebody that loves you and cares about you, you'll be fine.
It's because of my euthanization comments. So I basically said that I was talking about the kids, and I basically said there are kids and adults that are too violent for saving. That they need to be, that just like caged dogs, you have dogs that are vicious.
But when you say kids,
ourselves, and
when you say kids, that ain't the adult mind. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If you're a kid that is an adult age kid, a young adult, then yeah, I get it. But a kid, saying kid itself, is saying that this mind is not fully developed. To me, that's what a kid is. It's a person that his mind is not fully developed.
Yeah. When it comes to these children, there are some kids that are just horrible, rotten apples. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to sit here and kowtow to, a PC or a bleeding heart. I'm talking about violent people that take another life.
Yeah.
That it had no consequences for, or no conscience of taking another person's life. They will never be the same again. You got Aiden Fauci. Do you think that boy will ever be able to walk among us? Of course not.
No.
There are just some children out there that are truly pure.
He's had that girl 104 times. It was so horrible. That was so horrible. I mean, I understand what you're saying. I get it. And I see where people would be upset about what you're saying too. It's one of those double-edged swords. Yeah, crime in this country is bad. There are some really horrible kids doing really, really horrible things. But the key word is this. Are they kids or are they adults? If they're kids, we don't euthanize kids. We try to fix our kids.
Yeah,
if they're adults, if they're adults, then we treat them like adults and they get the punishment that adults get. That's just how I feel about it,
We also have to remember some of these kids are gang affiliated. These kids are, some of these kids come from different countries. They don't think anything twice about robbing, or killing someone. And I'm sorry, you can't.
Some of these kids don't know no better, though. Some of the kids don't know no better because it's all their whole life is kind of this. You know what I'm saying? They're brought up in a world that we don't understand.
But we can apply that same standard to adults because they came from childhood, right? They had a bad childhood. This is all they know. They were taught this. I mean, we can apply that to everybody, but it doesn't matter. There's a lot of kids out there that have horrible environments, horrible homes, and they're not out murdering people or torturing people.
Right.
Yeah. And I think there's a certain age that you ain't a kid anymore. You know what I'm saying? But that age is not, that's in the late teenagers. Once you hit 16, 17 years old, I think of your decisions. You made adult decisions. You should pay adult consequences. Any younger than that, let's put you in some juvenile stuff. Let's get you some help. Let's try to fix you.
Right.
Kind of situation, And
I'm all about getting them before they get to that point. But it's unfortunately, we have to be realistic. I'm a realistic.
Yeah, I just think this. You can take the worst kid on this planet, and you can put that kid around good people and a lot of love, and that kid will turn out to be a good kid.
There are cases that would happen, just like vicious dogs. There's cases where you can retrain a vicious dog. And
I think that's what people are mad at you about, Betty. Is you're like comparing kids to dogs. You know what I'm saying? It's a big jump to dogs to people. There's a big jump there.
We're all animals. We're all mammals. We're no different.
I get it. That. But that's like.
They'll twist my words around, and I stand by what I say. They're just, with my statement. What is Turtle Island? Am I still at Turtle
You probably the next one to get voted off. I mean, you're still there for now.
Hey, look at you guys. Hey, look at you. It was fun being on the island.
Yeah. You might win season 3. I don't think you're getting this one.
You know what? People are going to find a way to be mad at me, but I'm always going to speak my truth, and nobody's going to change who I am as a person. I love people, but I take a realistic approach to things. So people can be upset, and I know Dolly does too. Dolly every now and again, he says something that gets him in a little bit of hot water, but it goes along with that. I mean, you're not going to agree with your creator 100% of the time, all the time. It's just an unrealistic expectation. Yeah,
occasionally I'll say something stupid.
Right.
Occasionally.
What are you trying to say, Dolly?
I ain't saying nothing. I'm saying all of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying all of it. I'm just, I'm saying all of it. I got to do with me. I'm Bennett, ain't in it.
Nobody's going to make Betty walk the plank, right? We won't make you walk the plank, Betty.
Actually, I think it'd be fun.
To walk the plank?
I don't get to vote in the game, Betty. I don't get to vote, so it's the people. It's the people.
I'm going to have to call in and see if I get the golden egg.
You better pray for that egg. You better pray for that egg.
Mine's up in the hands of a friendly.
Betty, I voted you to be on the island.
Thank you, love. Thank you.
Now pray for the golden egg.
Yeah, I'll pray for the golden egg.
I'm going to guarantee I kick one player in the eggs, and I'm going to sell every last one of them eggs.
Oh my god.
Instantly.
Oh my gosh, Mandy, you just scared me to death, girl.
Haters, y'all save y'all's money.
You're a
getting Eddie off the island.
You know what?
I'm going to be rich, bitch.
You know what? It would make my day if it was a hater that spent money to kick me off the island. At least somebody pulled some money out of those tightwads.
Y'all vote her off. Haters handles. Don't make sure
I'm not in this, y'all.
$5 a ticket. $5 a ticket.
Well, how much are the eggs? The eggs are.
I'm kidding about the eggs. We ain't coming to the Turtle show. She said I'm still on the island. Yeah, you're still here. Till next show, Betty. Till next show.
It's early.
We're trying to get rid of Matt.
I done told you. Bullhorn Betty's for the win.
I don't know.
She gets the championship belt.
Some people appreciate, no filter, and those are the people that come over. Now, of course, I'm going to get hate channels because I'm going to be very creative about this whole West case. But, I do have the order, and I definitely run it, and I definitely will follow it, and we're definitely going to move forward with live coverage of it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with talking about things. I guess if the court say, hey, don't broadcast it, don't broadcast it.
I'm not broadcasting it.
Yeah. So.
But we are going to get very creative, and we're still going to move forward with our discussions.
Mm-hmm.
I got you. So, has anything crazy came out in that yet? Like, what is the updates that's came out so far in that?
For which case? I covered 3 cases.
The West Boys.
So nothing. I haven't been paying attention. I didn't even know where to go listen to it until.
But if you streamed it, did you stream it?
Yeah, it was only literally like 5 minutes of it, maybe less than that. A guy was on the stand talking, and then they broke for lunch.
Oh, okay.
It was like literally, and that's what I told the courts. And so, because when I was talking to the courts, they're like, "Well, just go ahead and delete the live stream." And I'm like, "Well," because I know the haters are going to. And I told them, I said, "Well, I'm putting it in private because in case anything comes of this, this is the only evidence that I have of what was recorded." So I explained to the courts, I am putting it in private, and I'm going to keep it just to make sure that there's nothing going to come of this because I don't want to delete it if it's to be used as evidence later down the road.
Right, you always want proof.
The courts understood that, so it's still in private. And I explained to them what I was going to do Monday. So everything should be above board. I mean, I'm sure they're not really happy with it, but I'm following their rules.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, That's crazy. I ain't never heard of nothing like that. I thought when they released it to the public, it was in the public. But you just can't actually broadcast the audio, but you can sit there and say, well, this guy walked up on the stand, he talked about this and that. I'm sure, you know, they can't say what you can and can't say in this world.
That's exactly it.
So is it?
So we're going to follow the court order to a T.
So it's the judge's discretion for each case whether or not how the media is done, right?
Yeah. So in the way I was reading the forms that were attached to, like everybody was sending me the screenshot. I'm like, have you read the forms? It basically says it's up to his discretion. And so there was no specific order for the West case that was accessible to the public. And so the only way I could get it is through the courts. The courts did send it to me, so I've read it and I know what I can and cannot do.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like I see a lot of people streaming court cases right on TV. I've never seen one that they go, well, you can't stream this. You know, I've seen stuff that's copyrighted that says, hey, restreaming this is copyrighted material.
Yeah.
They'll make up new stuff as they go to suit them.
Well, and we got to remember this is California. California, you know, they live under completely different laws than the rest of the country.
But it is a different time. We live in a different world where social media plays a big influence in everything, too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I can get them saying, hey, we're trying to keep this a little bit. We don't want it to go crazy. We don't want to turn it into a shit show. I mean, I get it a little bit. But they are turning it because it's forcing people to have to go to the courts, and they're having problems, you know, being able to house the people that are coming to the courts. So the best way for them to relieve the courts, you know, law enforcement is to broadcast
it. So I think it's very, and not only that, but whenever I talk to the lady and she's like, and I'm like, so everybody can broadcast or can listen to this independently. We just can't rebroadcast. She's like, yes. I'm like, okay, got it.
Okay. I don't know. I just been watching whatever comes out on the news or something about it, and they still haven't found the boys, right?
No, boys never been found.
Yeah, I remember when the parents came out and they did the interview, and I think it was the aunt was out there, and she was like heckling them.
Oh my gosh, she was not. She knew immediately.
Yeah, like she was just like, you know, why would you do this? And why, you know, you could hear her in the background going the hell off, right? And then people were just like, yeah, who would put their kids outside like that? I mean, they're guilty as hell.
Yeah, and the fact that it was this is what was notated. This is what I've learned so far. And why they put their eyes on the parents, the adopted parents, because when they got out there, it's like a lot of dirt. You know, this is California. This is kind of like red clay, red dirt, not a whole lot of grass. And out there in the back, they could see a bunch of footprints, none that were the size of a 3 or 4 year old. The footprints that were out there were actually determined to be Jacqueline's.
Well, I heard one of the boys wasn't even never at the house, was he?
Right. They said there was no dirty diapers in the hampers. Or the garbage cans like that a 3 and 4 year old would have, because they're boys. So boys, you know, if anybody has boys, they know that it takes a little longer for them to potty train. So you got the no diapers, and then when they go up to the bathroom,
I would think a boy would be quicker to potty train than a girl.
Believe it or not,
Nope.
Okay, I only got a girl, so I don't know.
Yeah, no, girls are much easier to potty
My
train.
son was pretty good at potty training. He did really good.
Yeah. But they don't get out of diapers quite as quickly as girls, at least in my experience. There might be one or two. You know, there might be obviously some that obviously do, because, you know, people are different. But in general, it takes a little bit longer to potty train a boy. And so you got no diapers, and then their toothbrushes were in a toothbrush pushed all the way to the side, and they said that they had like cobwebs or dust on them. So
that's terrible.
So these people, they were surviving off the checks they were getting from the government for taking care of these kids. Didn't have a job.
Correct.
You know, and then, so these kids have probably been missing for a while, and they were just still collecting the checks.
Yeah. And actually, they even brought up that they were going to be getting several $100s more a month by adopting your kids.
Yeah, and here's the thing. If the court's got to know the general public believes that these people are guilty. Why not televise it? That's one of those things to me. Why not televise it? The general public already thinks these people are guilty. I mean,
televise our big cases.
Yeah. Like, I don't think anybody in this room would think these people are innocent, or even like the hate channels think these people are innocent. You know, so why not just go ahead and televise it? Because these are things like that people need to see, because it sets an example. See these people get punished, so the next people that adopt some kids don't do the same type of stuff.
Don't forget, the hate channels are the ones that stepped up to the plates and tried to help. They try to reach out to this husband and wife to help them, because they didn't believe that they were guilty. I mean, this is again more information.
Oh, they're guilty as shit. There's no doubt these people are guilty. They're guilty.
I think even BK reached out to them to try to help them.
Yeah, BK helps every guilty person. That's a sign right there that you're guilty. If BK shows up, you're guilty.
Who's BK?
Burger King.
Yeah, you don't know. He's a despicable man that just went to jail.
He's out of jail. He's just missing right now. He's on a milk
Like
carton.
I said, it just went to jail. I never said he was still in jail. He just got arrested.
I have a question.
Boys to the God, 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 boys to the God.